Balake? Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Blake? What? Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Is my mic working, you guys? Okay, good. Oh my God. As the intro was playing, I checked my mic and it was okay. Welcome, everybody. Ron here. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day's a great day not to be in a cult. Are you guys ready for this? I don't know that I've ever compiled more receipts for a video in my life. And as I've been putting together the outline for this video, I've tried to fight the urge to give too much intro, too much context, too much runway to get to the main point. And in my prep for this video, I'm like, okay, less intro. And I'm afraid that I still have too much intro. So let me begin by telling you the first major slanderous accusation that I'm doing this video to correct the record on, and that I am going to provide more receipts than anybody could have imagined I still had. And by the way, this is one of those videos. See, I tend to do two types of videos. One video that's intended for the entire internet, meaning it's meant to be applicable to anyone who has no idea who I am, has never seen my channel before, has never heard of Scientology before, the broad audience. And then there's other videos I do that are just for what I'm just going to call the community. There really isn't much of a community, but you guys know what I'm talking about. There are certain things that happen, certain things that get said that I'm not going to pick up the phone and call 50 people to have a conversation about. So this video today might only be relevant to 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. This is just one of those videos. So if you don't know who Relatable Reese is or what my history with her is, just watch another one of my videos. This is not for you. But if you do, this video is for you, okay? Here's the number one slanderous accusation that's been levied against me by 3 separate people that this video is in response to. That is the accusation that about 2.5 years ago, when Reese Quibell first reached out to the Aftermath Foundation asking for someone to talk to, that I responded to her. And she was asking for help leaving Scientology is the story. That when I responded to her, I did so in secret. And I never told anyone else in the Aftermath Foundation that this woman, Reese Quibell from Kansas City, had reached out to us for help leaving Scientology. I kept her to myself. I kept it a secret. And instead of helping Reese leave Scientology, I convinced her to stay in Scientology so that she could leak me inside info. And I used her for content selfishly over and over again until one day I accidentally doxed her. And overnight, she lost everything and everyone she ever knew. I am going to provide receipts that I bet the Aftermath Foundation didn't even think that I still had. Because, by the way, the first one to make this accusation against me was Mike Rinder himself. And now Reese is repeating it. Anyway, I'm not actually going to show you those receipts until the end of the video. But I didn't want to leave you guys sitting there wondering, why are you doing this video? Because before I show you those receipts, I have to tell you how we got there. Okay. So for those of you guys who know what we're talking about, I know you'll be willing to sit through what I have to show you, because without the receipts and without the evidence, none of this matters. Okay. So I'm going to do this with full receipts. I'm going to do this without levying personal attacks. In other words, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what Reese did to me for 70 minutes on her channel last night out of nowhere. Now, I say out of nowhere, but the truth is, something told me this was coming, because there's been some shenanigans going on behind the scenes that I will address after I show you the receipts. Pardon the gum chewing. I'm under the weather. The gum helps keep the phlegm processing through so that you guys don't have to hear me blowing my nose while I do this video. So why don't we begin? I want to begin by me sharing with you something I said about Reese and her experience before she was officially declared and when she got officially declared. I want you to notice how this was a few days ago in a Q&A video that I was doing. I want you guys to notice how in this video, I do not say or even imply that Reese has lied about anything. I'm actually explaining how Reese's situation is different than another situation that I was talking about. I think I got my timestamp set up here. This is only a few minutes long. Check this out.
And I'll tell you what's different. What's different about, because as I'm saying this out loud, I realize, people are going to go, but that's exactly what happened a couple of years ago when, Reese was not declared a suppressive person yet. And she was talking to you, and then you accidentally showed text messages on screen and that she got kicked out. And there's some similarity there, but there's also a really, really big difference. Reese was not under the radar. Reese had simply not yet been declared a suppressive person, but she was not under the radar. Under the radar in Scientology means that you are still pretending to Scientologists to be down with Scientology. You are still pretending to the authorities and to the ethics officer that you are a good Scientologist because you don't want to suffer disconnection and fair game. In Reese's case, she was doing the exact opposite of that. She was telling all of the Scientologists in her life that she was not a Scientologist, had not been in a long time, would never let her son do Scientology, and was telling the Scientologists in her life that she wanted to send her son to a psychiatrist. That is the opposite of being under the radar. I mean, Reese and I, you guys, if you guys ever go back and listen to the phone calls that Reese recorded.
Guys, have I called her a liar? Have I called her a liar? Have I said she's being dishonest about anything? Am I even targeting Reese in this, or am I just explaining something that anyone who had already listened to all of the videos we've done together would already know? This was not an attack. Now, to be fair, I did put this information out for a reason, but we're going to get to that much later.
Reese recorded a bunch of phone calls between her and her mother-in-law. She also recorded a phone call or two that she actually had with a Sea Org recruitment mission. And you guys will see what I mean. It's the difference between being under the radar and just not being declared yet. And actually, I remember the first conversation I ever had with Reese when she contacted the Aftermath Foundation. She wasn't asking for help leaving Scientology because she was already out of Scientology, but she hadn't been declared yet. And her mother-in-law was on staff and was training at Flag. She actually said she needed some guidance. She wanted someone to talk to. So I remember the first conversation I had with Reese. Actually, as soon as I got off the phone with Reese, I actually sent a written debrief to Mike Rinder and Luis Garcia about this conversation I just had with this, kind of ex-Scientologist, but still not, still technically in good standing. And the debrief that I sent them even specifically said, Reese does not care if she gets declared. So that's the difference. And that is the difference. Now, don't get me wrong. And also when Reese did get declared, she didn't lose any family members. She still had her her son and her husband and her mom and the only father she'd ever known and her sister. What happened was all the Scientologists in her life who had never unfriended her on Facebook started disconnecting from her on Facebook. But these aren't people that were in her life. And what was the other thing on that? Oh yeah. In one of the phone calls, she's actually telling the Sea Org recruitment mission, that she hasn't been a Scientologist for at least 9 years. So that's a little bit of the difference there. But
Okay, good. Did I say anything derogatory there? Anything negative whatsoever? I did not. I didn't say or imply that Reese was lying about anything. The only way anybody could have a problem with what I said in there is if they want people to believe something different than what I just said there. I'm going to show you timestamps of the videos that Reese and I did together, playing phone calls that she recorded with her mother-in-law, with Kathy Sullivan-Otto, a Scientology official, and with a Sea Org recruiter that support what I just said. There is nothing wrong with the truth as I just laid it out. Nothing wrong whatsoever. Now, I do want to explain something. When I say she was not under the radar, but she was simply not yet declared, Reese seems to think that those words, she was not yet declared, she has put words into my mouth that I said she was about to be declared anyway. I never said she was about to be declared anyway. I simply stated the fact she had not yet been declared. And that's all I meant to say. Under the radar, as I just said, in Scientology usually means you are hiding your disaffection from Scientologists, particularly from Scientology authorities. Now, I have a lot of experience with that. I was under the radar for years. I also have experience with the type of under the radar that Reese was, which is you're very, very open with everyone about your disaffection, but no one knows you're talking to SPs, okay? For a long time, my own brother-in-law, Adam Tozier, was in that camp. He would tell every Scientologist he knew how much he hated Scientology. He would tell his parents how much he hated Scientology. He told everyone. And yet when me and Heather were declared, he had to secretly be in touch with us, because even though he wasn't declared, he wasn't hiding his disaffection. Now, when he was then threatened with disconnection, he then severed all ties with us. So normally when the word under the radar is used, it means you're hiding your disaffection. But I can also sometimes loosely use the phrase to mean you're talking to SPs under the radar, but you yourself are not actually under the radar as far as Scientology is concerned. Okay, I just want to clarify that phrase. I hope my voice doesn't give out on me. I also want to clarify the phrase that I said something about she didn't lose any family members. My story is similar to Reese's in terms of which family members that we lost, except I actually did have a younger brother disconnect from me. My in-laws disconnected from us. Those are my current in-laws, the parents of my current wife. Reese's ex-in-laws disconnected from her. I do not describe them as ex-in-laws to minimize anything. This is one of those things where please don't make the mistake of confusing specificity with denigration. They're not the same, okay? Reese's ex-in-laws are the parents of her third husband ago, okay? Those are the in-laws that disconnected from her. You'll see why I feel like I'm getting way too deep into this way too early, but I'm going to follow my outline here. My in-laws that disconnected from me were my actual current in-laws. Where my situation and Reese's situation are identical is my in-laws are the grandparents of my kids. And even though Reese's in-laws are actually her ex-in-laws from 3 marriages ago, they are the grandparents of her kid. And even though my in-laws who disconnected from me are my current in-laws, when I tell my story, I don't characterize my in-laws as the family I lost. I don't pretend to be heartbroken by my in-laws disconnecting from me. I talk about my kids losing their grandparents, or my wife losing her parents, okay? There's a difference, is all I'm saying. And what you will find is that for some reason, when Reese tells her story, which is an incredibly heart-wrenching story all unto itself, but for some reason, when she tells her story, she creates the impression that she only left Scientology 2 years ago and she lost her entire family and everyone she knew overnight, when she actually kept her entire family except for her ex-in-laws from 3 marriages ago, who are the grandparents of her child. Her child was utterly devastated by losing his grandpa. But that's not how Reese tells her story. And that's just something I'm going to comment on right here, and then we're going to move on. Because someone might go, why does this matter to you? It doesn't really, but you're going to see why we're talking about it. Okay. In order to support my assertion that Reese was not under the radar in terms of hiding her disaffection from Scientology, and in order to support my assertion that Reese was actually doing pretty much everything in her power to get herself declared, and in order to support my assertion that Reese actually said she did not care if she got declared, I'm going to show you some receipts. Okay. Let's see if I have this queued up properly. This should be 225. Here we go. We'll go down here. Shoot, how do we do this? All right, let's do it like this.
I've sent you all the audios. I have audios from. So
Shit. Let me change the speed on this.
doxing happened. Wait on the line to record. I've sent.
Okay, these are phone calls that Reese recorded with people in Scientology that she and I then did videos broadcasting the phone calls. Okay.
You all the audios. I have audios from. So the
I'm sorry to screw around with you guys like this. I'm going to put this on normal speed. All right.
doxing happened. I've sent you all the audios. I have audios from. So the doxing happened. January 1st, right?
Something
It was
like
New
that.
Year's. Yeah, it was the New Year's Eve event. I started recording all of my phone calls with Scientologists, Sea Org, Kathy, my mother-in-law, right around October, November of last year. That's when I was really kind of starting to know that I was going to get out. I just didn't know how. And so
I knew I was going to get out of Scientology. I just didn't know how. Okay, we're going to jump forward to 12:15. This is a conversation where Reese is talking to a well-known veteran Scientology official. And to be fair, this conversation is occurring a week after I accidentally doxed Reese.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously he's super against Scientology, not just like had a bad time. His
My
hair's
pearls.
broken.
Oh yeah. I mean, so am I, but yeah, I get it.
Like super against it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I just want to point out the obvious, how funny it was to me when I first heard this. And you're like, I'm totally against Scientology too. I don't, right? She's like,
Yeah.
she didn't
Well, I was,
expect you to say that.
guys, I am who I am talking to you now. I mean, I'm very upfront, so I don't hide things. You'll see that. Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
I told Brenda all this like a month and a half ago. Yeah.
Okay, good. So even though this conversation is happening a week after I accidentally doxed Reese, she tells the Scientology official that she already told her mother-in-law about a month and a half ago that Reese is very, very much against Scientology. Okay, we're going to fast forward to 1307.
Something like that, and then I couldn't see her that week. Oh, I know why. Lily got strep throat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I told Brenda this. I want to say it was around Thanksgiving. So it had been coming, and I told her like a year ago, look, I have a conversation I want to have with you, but I don't want to have it while you're at Flag because I don't want to cause a problem. And then somehow it came up around Thanksgiving and she had the time to talk and she was like, just tell me. And I was like, look, I didn't want to do this over the phone, but I had like a 2-hour conversation with her about how, yes, I am against Scientology. I gave her every reason why and why I'm upset. And so, yeah, I definitely have made that clear to her. Oh, and I also made it clear to the chaplain. She called me like some Sea Org lady, Sophia at the Kansas City Org.
By the way, Reese, did you really have that conversation with Brenda?
It's all recorded.
But here's one of the things that Brenda might have gotten in trouble for. Like, she basically then failed to disclose that she had a connection to someone who was antagonistic to Scientology.
I have a recording. I have all the recordings of Brenda and me saying, I'm going to be declared. I'm going to have to disconnect from you because this is going to happen. I hate Scientology. And her response was, you're not going to get declared as long as you're just telling me. I've got that recorded.
Amazing.
So we'll play that too. We'll
And,
have fun with
I
this.
told her too that I'm very against Scientology.
Guys, does Reese sound even vaguely upset right here that she has been kicked out of Scientology and her mother-in-law and her ex-mother-in-law and ex-father-in-law have disconnected from her? No shade. I wouldn't expect her to be upset. She was she just admitted to Kathy, who is a Scientology official, that she, Reese, has for some time been telling her ex-stepmother, who is also a Scientology official, how much she hates Scientology and that she believes she's going to be declared a suppressive person. This is all, we did these videos together. Does Reese seem heartbroken over losing the relationship with her ex-mother-in-law? She doesn't. I wouldn't expect her to. But for some reason, when Reese goes on other channels, and you might go, what does this have to do with you? She creates the impression that when I accidentally showed her phone number on one of my streams, if you guys already know what I'm talking about, you know how it happened. It was a very, very unfortunate accident using my MacBook Pro for the first time. That overnight, her life was destroyed. She lost everything and everyone she ever knew, including all of her family. I don't know. Well, I was going to say, I don't know why Reese creates that impression in her videos. I feel like I do know. Anyway, I'm just going to take this step by step. Okay, let's look at another one of the phone calls here. I mean, she seemed downright giddy that she had been secretly recording her ex-mother-in-law for months. No shade. I respect the game. If you know you're leaving Scientology, record as much as you can on the way out. But she's tried to rewrite history, especially last night, that I used her. I took advantage of her. I used her for clicks and views. I chewed her up and spit her out. I got what I wanted from her and then, threw her away. This is wild stuff, you guys. Okay. We're going to go to, okay. 3350 on this one. Let me cue it up. Okay, volume good. Here we go.
And I've been told that you go and it's supposed to be like 8 months and you're gone for, over a year. And, I feel like you were just gone in LA doing all this training. And I felt this way about what's his name, Dana's husband, that I was like, I feel like I don't think you went to
Oh, crap, you guys. I hate to do this to you live on air. I think I might have pulled up the wrong video. Oh, man. I'm sorry, you guys. Give me a second. No, this is the right video, you guys. 3350. I don't go to the org anymore. Oh, you guys. 3350. All right. Let me just let it run. Let's see if I'm doing it right. Sorry, you guys.
not being here, and I've been told that you go and it's supposed to be like 8 months and you're gone for, over a year. And, I feel like you were just gone in LA doing all this training. And I felt this way about what's his name, Dana's husband, that I was like, I feel like I don't think you went to that funeral. And I felt like
you didn't have a funeral.
and I felt like you should have come back for Fred's funeral, but you're tied to that. You're not allowed to.
This is not the right video. I'm going to bail on this one. All right. Let me see if my timestamps for the next one are better. Sorry, guys. It's embarrassing. All right. Let's see if this is it. We'll go back to 23 minutes. All right, let's do it this way, guys.
You guys didn't want him to be on the first move back, and Sam gave him like a 5-minute self-analysis session and then found out that you guys didn't want him to do that, so he didn't do it again.
Yeah.
Without us knowing.
Wow. And who's Sam?
Their son, Michael's brother.
So
They had him for a weekend and I got him back
his
Sunday night.
uncle.
Yep.
So Huxley's
And
uncle.
Sam was the course soup at Flag. He was in the Sea Org and he came back like on a leave of absence for a week or something. And I got him back on a Sunday night and Huxley was like, I went in session all weekend. And I was like, what? And okay, Jeff, thank you for that. And I flipped out. And so
Guys, I'm so embarrassed. These are the wrong timestamps. I don't know how I screwed this up. All right, I'm pulling up the next one. All right, let's go 12:16. Sorry, guys. If these don't turn out to be right, we can just move on to the next part. It's okay. It's not going to mess anything up.
I still have tons of people that I love in Scientology. I have to say, I feel like it's a total sham. I just, now that I haven't been in it in a while and I look back at like things that I was told or did, or, being in session with Scott Otto and like just the weird shit that goes on. It's like, this doesn't feel right. I can't tell you how many times I was like, it doesn't seem right. That's not right. And I can't hear anymore that like, well, we're changing and we're new and it's different now. I mean, it shouldn't have ever happened. And my dad is still around. And Dave Sutter is still around after all the horrible shit that he said to me at the grand opening of the fucking Ideal Org. Even Jeff was like, what the hell? Who was that? So I just, who are these people? It's just crazy to me that this is allowed. I don't know. And rather than trying to solve it, I just don't be a part of it anymore.
Okay, good. Finally, I had a good timestamp. Okay, so that was Reese telling her ex-mother-in-law, who was at the time of this phone call doing a training program here in Clearwater, Florida, as a Scientology official under David Miscavige. And she's telling her that she thinks Scientology is a sham and she doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. That is the opposite of being under the radar, which is what I said, which was never intended to be a derogatory statement. Okay, last link, and I'll spare you guys this. This should be the right one. Oh, this is a master troll session by Reese of her ex-mother-in-law, who is a Scientology official, who is against psychiatry more than anything. And she's just casually going to tell her ex-mother-in-law that she wants her son to see a therapist, and pretends to be totally oblivious that this would be something her ex-mother-in-law would lose her mind about. But that was why Reese was recording these calls, to get reactions from the people that she was talking to. I just think it's worth noting that she's really, really good at it. No shade. I respect the game. All right, let's see if I got the right timestamp here.
Didn't have much to say, and they have a school therapist that's like a licensed therapist. And she said, I think that maybe it would be good for her to, or for him to talk to the therapist, which he's a guy, I guess, the therapist. And she said we could work out like weekly appointments with him. And I said, I'm not against that. And she sent me some paperwork I have to fill out, like HIPAA forms and stuff. And I haven't done that yet. So that's really the only place I'm at with the school right now.
I got it. Well, that's what I was wondering, is when you were talking about, seeing someone, I do remember you saying that they had like a school counselor, and I just wondered how that had gone with the assistant principal.
Yeah, he hasn't seen the school therapist yet, and I'm not so sure that I would have him. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to meet the guy, but if I have actually see a therapist, it's going to be private pay and somebody that I want to meet first and make sure that I like him. I'm not just going to have him, blindly see the school therapist. I want to make sure it's, he doesn't seem weird. That's where we're at with the school. I haven't.
Okay. I'm sorry to belabor the point, but I know I have you here, and I know I have your attention, and you guys want all the receipts. Telling your ex-mother-in-law Scientology official that you want to send your kid basically to a psych is the opposite of being under the radar. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. This is actually a really great clip. The next and last clip, I'm just going to skip to the last one because it's actually really good, where Reese points out, hey, I'm not trying to get you to stop doing Scientology, but I don't like it when people try to get me to do Scientology when you know damn well that I don't want to do Scientology. I'll respect you, but I need the respect in return. All right, here it is.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about that is that's not really applied though back. Like that doesn't go both ways, I feel. Like I don't want to say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. But if I say I don't have any interest in doing this, I don't feel like it's a simple, okay, well, we won't then. It's pushed. And I've had that conversation with many people over the phone, even like within the last year. I've talked to a couple people where I'm like, look, I don't have any interest in Scientology. And they're like, well, let's kind of dive into that. Let's, basically pull the string. And I'm like, look, I just don't want to do it. Okay, well, can you remember a time that you like, it's like, no, see, you're not really respecting what I'm not telling you should leave. So like, I wish you would not say to me like, well, how can we, I've done a lot of hard thinking about this. I'm like, I don't really need some stranger to, go, well, when was the first time that I don't know. I wish the respect went both ways.
I mean, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. That wasn't even trolling. That was just being upfront. I'm not a Scientologist. I don't want to do Scientology. Anyone who listened to all of our phone calls back in the day would know that one major point of upset between Reese and her in-laws was that when her son was like 6 years old, her in-laws tried to sign her son up for a Scientology course without her permission. And she hit the fucking roof. Guys, that was 10 years ago. For those of you who know Reese and her life, I believe her son is 16 years old. So Reese has not been a Scientologist, has openly not been a Scientologist for 10 years or so. And that being said, there's a difference between not being a Scientologist and being declared. My brother-in-law is not a Scientologist, but he is also not a declared suppressive person. And he doesn't want to be a declared suppressive person. So I am not minimizing the effect of Reese getting declared because I accidentally doxed her. That was very real. I felt horrible about it. It's one of the reasons I worked so closely with Reese and helped her to build her channel so quickly and do content with her all the time. I apologized to her a million times. She's now claiming I've never apologized to her and I've never experienced any remorse. Those of you who've been around for a couple of years know that's absolutely not true. But I just, I know we're 35 minutes into this video and we're still on this one point. I just want you to see, when I say Reese wasn't under the radar, that's not revisionist history. That's a fact. Okay. Now, everything I've just said and everything I just showed you somewhat contradicts what I said in the introduction of the first video Reese and I ever did together, where I say she was under the radar and I describe her as an under the radar Scientologist. Let me share this with you so you can see what I said. Let's go full screen. Let's get the volume up. Here we go.
Well, guys, I done messed up this time. Some of you very eagle-eyed viewers noticed that on January 1st, on a live stream, I accidentally doxed one of my sources, an under-the-radar Scientologist named Reese. I did this by accidentally swiping the wrong direction on a screen that I was sharing, and my text messages flashed on the screen for about a quarter of a second. And the text message that was highlighted was a message from Reese where she was sharing some information with me. So as soon as I realized that this had occurred, I didn't realize it until after the stream had ended. I immediately called Reese and told her what had happened, and we waited and prepared for the fallout. Well, Reese didn't have to wait long. It took less than a week for Scientology's operatives to figure out exactly who it is she was. The name I had her under in my phone wasn't exactly what they're used to calling her by. And once they figured it out, the familial disconnection started immediately. And while Reese knew that this day would eventually come, that day was always at least tomorrow. And unfortunately, due to my mistake, tomorrow has become today. Reese and I had a chance to sit down and talk about all of this, not just my mistake, but her Scientology story. And guys, I hope you watch this whole video.
Okay, good. So I called her under the radar. I called her a Scientologist, and I said the familial disconnection began. I called her under the radar because her connection to me is what was under the radar. I called her a Scientologist because technically, if you were a Scientologist and you're not yet declared a suppressive person, you're kind of still a Scientologist, depending on the circumstances. And that's why I call Sky Daly, Hulk Hogan's widow. That's why I call her a Scientologist, because she's not declared. She's still connected to Scientologists. Her parents are OT8s. If she picks up the phone, Scientology has to, if Scientology calls, she has to pick up the phone. That's also true for my brother-in-law. He's not a Scientologist in the normal sense of the word. But because he's connected to his parents and his in-laws who will disconnect from him if he doesn't do what Scientology wants, he's still under Scientology's control. So sometimes I will call people like that Scientologists. I said the familial disconnection began because her son's grandparents disconnected. That is familial disconnection, even if they're not Reese's family members. You see, I'm not trying to minimize what did occur, but Reese has weaponized, unfortunately, it gets weaponized against me, weaponized this fiction that when I accidentally doxed her, she lost her whole family. And you might go, Aaron, why are you splitting hairs? Her trauma is her trauma. I agree. I never talk about this shit, okay? But Reese goes on podcasts, and more recently podcasts of friends of mine, and repeats this fiction that I caused her to lose her entire family. And she even caused one person this week to believe that she doesn't have a mother. Anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay. I want to stick to my outline here. Okay. So I showed that. You notice, by the way, there were two things that I just said in that intro that are little flags to everything else that I'm saying now. I said that it took 8 days for them to figure out who Reese was because they didn't know her by Reese Quibell. Guys, she hadn't been in touch with Scientology in so long, they didn't even know her by her married name. I also said in that intro, she always knew this day was coming. It's just that that day was always tomorrow. Okay. Just, so even in this intro, which is what Reese is now using to try to say that I'm lying about everything now, you'll see little reflections of the truth. Look, it was all the truth. I was just using words loosely. I also was representing Reese as sympathetically and charitably as possible. I wanted people to support Reese. I was supporting Reese. I wanted people to hear Reese's story. Reese has a very important story. And it's one of the reasons I helped her so much and worked with her so closely. Okay, let's go to the next chapter. I feel so bad that this video is already 40 minutes long, but what can I say, guys? This is my response, and my goal is to show all the receipts. I don't want anyone having to take my word for it. I don't want anyone having to say that I'm making stuff up. Okay, let's jump forward to Reese's response to what I said, which she took as an attack. Now, of course, all right, well, let me just cut down on the editorialization. We are going to go to 10159. Okay, here we go. Let's go 1.5 speed because she talks slow.
Are you fucking kidding me? Boy, do I get names wrong. I'm here every night. No way do I hate. I have always been subscribed. Well, that's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. And you just gave me money to correct me. And I am terribly sorry. I take your super chat and thank that color Reese. If I can find, did you find your house? Thank you, Just John. So let's, does anybody know about this? I would love you to set the record straight on Aaron's recall on your conversation when you got outed. No, I think that's a respectful question. I don't feel like you're trying to cause drama. This is not a drama channel, even though sometimes I get a wild hair and it's mainly my uterus talking. I will address this if you would like me, if the rest of you guys would like me to address this. I would be happy to, address this. I need to blow my nose. If you'll give me a sec.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I can jump forward to 10716.
I feel like, why can't we just leave each other alone? That's where I.
Yes. Why can't we just leave each other alone? God, I so agree with that statement. Why can't we leave each other alone? See, this is where the history comes in a little bit, because you guys will know that although in my time on YouTube, I've taken opportunities to respond and clap back to people who I feel are trying to hurt me and my friends. I think even my biggest critics would probably acknowledge that 95% of my content is dedicated to Scientology. Unfortunately, there's one person in this community who has, for the last 2 years, made it her primary objective to non-stop attack ex-Scientologists, protesters, foundations, foundation board members, and that person is Nora Ames. Now, Reese tends not to associate with anyone else in the ex-Scientology community, but there's only one person in this entire community Reese ever says any good things about, and that's Nora. Okay, so when Nora is doing video after hundreds of hours of videos attacking me, attacking my friends, attacking my foundation, if it's not me, she's attacking other people. And Reese is always saying good things about Nora. Reese knows exactly what she's doing. And back in, let me see. I'm looking at my notes, guys, because I don't want to get off. I put a lot of time together putting my outline so that I don't get lost off into the weeds. Okay, good. This is where I thought I was. Last March, almost a year ago, I did a video called Why I Stopped Doing Videos with Tommy Scoville and Relatable Reese. And I'm going to post a link to that video in the pinned comment after this is over. I also this morning published a shorter clip of that video that just explains why I stopped doing videos with Reese. I published that to my clips channel. I'll post links to those in the pinned comment down below for anyone who wants to watch that. But just to summarize that video, and guys, I'm being slightly hyperbolic here. In essence, the reason I stopped doing videos with Reese and Tommy, or particularly Reese, is because she kind of lies about everything all of the time. And I said I'm going to show receipts, and I said I'm not going to do personal attacks. I don't know how to say this without it coming across as a personal attack. Reese lies about almost everything all of the time. And I was tired of either getting sucked into co-signing her lies, or being lied to, or being lied about. Now, I did that video on March 7th, okay? And this is where I'm going to show you guys more receipts. I did the video explaining all of Reese's lies on March 7th. I got a text message from Reese 1 day later on March 8th, and I'm going to show it to you, okay? Because this is the answer to why can't we just leave each other alone? All right. On March 8th, Reese texts me, "You were right about this last text that you sent me. I was blaming you for my own shit." You go, well, what was the last text that you sent her? I'll show you. This goes back to January. Okay, so Reese had just resigned from the SPTV Foundation. One of my old moderators, SPTV Tattoo Warrior, was attacking the shit out of Reese, but she was also attacking the shit out of me. And a lot of people were attacking Reese. And instead of taking it like a woman and responding to her critics or doing whatever she wanted to do, she took the easy way out and tried to say that I was the one stirring everyone up and sending them after her. Now, I already had enough fucking drama going on in my life. I wasn't going to get into a public back and forth with Reese. But to see someone who had been my friend throw me under the bus publicly, I didn't respond to her publicly, but I sent her the following text. "Reese, you know perfectly well that I have nothing to do with Barb's attacks on you. You know perfectly well that Barb has been low-key attacking you for about a year, and I'm the one who has always intervened to make her stop. Barb removed herself as a moderator after Jenna's second video. You resigned from the board weeks ago and have been low-key throwing me under the bus ever since, by the way. So thank you very much for that. With Barb removing herself as my moderator, there is literally no reason for her to keep her mouth shut. And there's literally no way for me to intervene. Plus, Barb is attacking me too." God, I'm losing my voice. Hold on, guys. "It is hilarious that everyone's complaint is that Barb is just not attacking me enough. For you to imply that the evidence that I'm behind Barbara's attacks on you is that Barb isn't attacking me enough is bonkers. But you already know that even when Barb was my moderator, I could still barely contain her from attacking you. Now that she's not my moderator, and now that she's publicly attacking you and me, you want to say that I'm the one pulling the strings behind the scenes to make her do that? You know perfectly well that is totally false." Reese never responded to that text message until one day after I did a video explaining why I stopped doing videos with Reese. Okay. So then that brings us back to the first message I showed you. Reese goes, "You were right about this last text that you sent. I was blaming you for my own shit. I did not take any accountability, and I do apologize to you. I am sorry that I lied about the whole Tommy drama. I appreciate the friendship you..." Hold on. I appreciate I'm sorry I'm chewing the gum, you guys. It's to keep my sinuses clear. I appreciate the friendship you showed me, and I should not have abused it. I would have said that in a phone call, but I didn't think you wanted to hear from me. I mean what I said. She's right. I didn't want to hear from you because Reese is so good at the makeup apology. It's not the first time we've been through this route. I also am someone who, if I get on the phone with you and you apologize to me, I will forgive you. And I did not want to forgive her. Okay. So I did not call her back, but I did text her 2 days later. Okay, good. I texted her 2 days later and I said the following. Let me try to. I said, Reese, lying about the Tommy thing is the least of my concerns. That was just the first thing that happened. Lying about Tommy and Clearwater occurred over a year ago. All of the main problems that I have are things that occurred after that. And most of them occurred even after we made up and you came down to Clearwater and we did videos together. For example, the lies that you told your moderators to make them believe that you were afraid of me and that I was threatening you while you were still on the board of my foundation. Nonetheless, you cozying up to Lindsay and inviting Lindsay to come into your live chat, you lying to everyone about your reason for resigning from the foundation, you supporting Nora while she attacked me in the foundation, you lying to everyone about me coordinating people to attack you. The only thing that you addressed in your videos is, quote, Aaron's feelings were hurt because I lied to him about Tommy, and that is sad, but I would do it again. I said, that's another lie, because you know that's not my main problem. You saying, when I resigned from the foundation, I wish I did not bring Aaron into it, is another lie, because you're not being honest about why you resigned from the foundation. Resigning because you didn't want to lose subscribers and then pretending that you resigned for moral reasons was a lie. And you did that to me, even though I was keeping your secret, a secret that you had even lied about coming clean about to your audience. And then throwing me under the bus in that way when it was convenient for you and lying about it in a way that would be destructive to me is not just a lie. It's treachery. Okay. So she responded to that text by saying, I'm sorry, you guys can probably hear my gum chewing much louder than I think you can. She asked if I was willing to talk. I was not willing to talk. She says, I know that I've hurt you and let you down as a friend. And I take responsibility for that. I regret the choices I made and the impact they had on you. That was never my intention, but I understand that my actions caused great harm. I don't deserve a response. I just wanted to acknowledge my mistakes and say that I'm sorry. I was a really shitty person. I want to move forward and try to be a better person and treat my friends with respect. I wish I could have done that with you. I hope at some point down the road, you'll be willing to accept my apology and see that I have made positive changes in relationships. It may not look like it now, but I am very grateful for all you've done for me. That was the last communication of any kind I have ever had in writing or on the phone with Reese until last night, when she absolutely tried to trash and destroy and slander me for 70 minutes on a live stream just for saying Reese wasn't actually under the radar. She just wasn't declared a suppressive person yet. And for me saying, when Reese left Scientology, she left with her husband, her son, her mother, her stepfather, and her sister. And that the only family members who she lost were her ex-in-laws from 3 marriages earlier. It's just a fact. Okay. This is why, according to Reese's words, why we can't just leave each other alone. Because Reese, you betrayed my trust in ways almost no one else has ever done. And you admitted it, and you took responsibility for it, and you apologized for it. But ever since then, you have been back channeling support for people, a person, and Nora and her supporters, who's been attacking me and my friends and my foundation for 3 to 4 hours a day, almost every day for the last 1.5 years or so. You are the one who turned your back on me, not the other way around. When you tell this version of your story that I caused you to lose everything and everyone you've ever known overnight, you are actually hurting me. It's actually a big fuck you to me, because that's not your story. That's not the truth. And when I saw you go on a video with someone who is a friend of mine, and once again try to convince some new person that I destroyed your life overnight and caused you to lose your whole family, that's something you hadn't done in a while. Okay. Okay. Let me get back onto, we're going to move on to the next chapter. We're going to move on to the next chapter. Damn it, where did it go? Okay. Okay, did that. Okay, good. Showed the text messages. That's right. Said that. Good. Okay. Back to the video. 10735. Okay. Thank you for your patience, guys.
The source always seems to come from somewhere in that direction. That's how I feel. And I truly believe a lot of, well, I'm not going to speculate on what I think. Let's just stick to the facts, because what I think is not a fact, right? Opinions are not facts. So a few days ago, I'll just stick to what happened. Aaron came out swinging for whatever reason. You know, I haven't spoken to Aaron in a very long time. I couldn't even tell you. And yeah, I don't watch him either. And he said, someone said, hey, heads up, Reese, he's saying this. This is how I know. I went over and watched it myself, and Aaron has completely changed the story, and continues to seem to double down. Oh, he defended me tonight, Abigail? See, I didn't even know that. I didn't watch his stream tonight. What I saw the other day come out of Aaron's mouth is he seems to double down. He has never apologized to me for outing me. And that's okay, because I'm not a person who needs apologies, right? I don't. But I'm pointing this out because he continues to not take any accountability, and he continues to double down and point fingers at me. And I'm not sure why, because I've got nothing to do with Aaron Smith-Levin. He is no part of my life. He takes up 0% of my daily thoughts. I don't have anything to do with the guy. But for whatever reason, he wants to come out saying, and the reason I'm okay with addressing this is because I feel nothing for Aaron. I don't want to protect Aaron, and I don't want to harm Aaron. But I will put the truth out when someone comes out saying a lie about me, right? And he is not someone I'm not going to look at Aaron and go, I'm not going to go up against that. I'm too scared. I'm not afraid of him. He doesn't scare me at all. If he wants to come out swinging and make some hate video and I lose 5,000 subs, then happy 2026, right? Doesn't matter to me. There's nothing he can do to me. And I'm not trying to do anything to him, but I will set the record straight. A few days ago, Aaron comes out for whatever God knows reason, and he decides to say, Reese, in Reese's scenario, he said a couple of years ago, he said his almost verbatim exact words were something along the lines of, Reese was never under the radar. And then he says, she was about to be declared anyway.
Good. I'm going to pause it right there. I just want to point out that first example of her saying, putting words in my mouth I never said. I actually never said she was going to get declared anyway. You can see from the phone calls that she was having with Scientology officials, she was saying stuff that would normally get her declared. She did seem to be trying to get declared, but I don't think she would have actually been. And I don't want to read. I never said she was about to be declared anyway. I simply never said that. I also want to point out, look at how she's talking about me. She's talking about me like I'm a piece of shit that she could not care less about. The last I heard from her, she was telling me how much she appreciated everything I did for her, how she regrets having been a horrible friend to me and used me and taken advantage of my help and my trust. What changed? What changed? I couldn't tell you, except that she didn't mean her apology, perhaps when she gave it to me, but was hoping that after she broke up with Tommy, that maybe we would get back together and I would help her with her channel again or something. I don't know. But when she texted me telling me how grateful and thankful she was for me, and she was regretful for hurting our relationship, I'm telling you guys, we've never had any further communication than that. And I do not throw shade at Reese. I don't mention her. Reese doesn't even do Scientology videos. We're not even in the same universe. But Reese knows damn well that Nora attacks me for about 20 hours a week, every week for the last year and a half. Why is Reese constantly saying great things about Nora? Reese knows what she's doing when she does that. Reese is very good at playing dumb. She has this damsel in distress act down pat. Oh no, what should I do? Reese has to convince people she's only been out of Scientology for 2 years in order to justify this. I don't know how the world works. I don't know how to talk to people. Guys, Reese has had 2 husbands who have not been Scientologists. Reese met her second husband working a professional job in a facility that cares for elderly people. I think when Reese was about 30 years old, she was working in this elderly care facility, and she met Fred, who was like 90 years old, and she married Fred, and Fred was not a Scientologist, you know. And then Fred died, and then she met Jeff because they were part of the same social club, the Royal Jesters. Reese, by her own words, has been out of Scientology for about 10 years, even though she was only declared 2 years ago. Reese has an amazing story as it is. I've always felt that when she intentionally tells her story in a way that she knows isn't true, and maybe this is because, you know, everyone's a little bit self-centered, including myself, it's always felt like she's sticking in the fucking knife and twisting it to convince people that I caused her to lose her whole family. Now, maybe that's not why she tells the story that way. Maybe it's just so that she can trick people into giving her money and giving her help. Maybe it's not a fuck you to me. Maybe it's just a way of manipulating people. I don't know. But I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I take it very personally when she does it. And even when we were doing videos together, every now and then she would say, hey, remember when you doxed me and I lost everything overnight? And I'd kind of be like, I would never call her out on it, but I'd kind of be like, what the fuck are you doing? Kind of like when Reese and I were doing videos together, and then she started doing videos with Sterling. And she started saying things like, you know, Aaron's great, but, and I'd be like, I think to myself, what are you doing? Why are you, that's not necessary. You can think I'm great and you can think Sterling is great. You don't have to put someone else down to put someone else up. Why do you keep making these negative things? I like Aaron, but Sterling is, I'm like, hey, that feels really fucking personal. What are you doing? Maybe I just take things personally. I know I take things personally. Okay, so let's see. That was 110:23. Okay, we're going to play this for 40 more seconds. Here we go.
So he has totally changed this entire story. So if you go back and watch March 11th of 2023, my very first YouTube interview ever on his channel, in the first 3 minutes, he says, I doxed Reese, who's an under the radar Scientologist. Those are his words. So he's totally contradicting and lying and switching up the narrative and rewriting history for God knows what reason. Like, why are we hashing this out? Why are we even digging it up? What does it have to do with you at this point? What does it have to do with anybody at this point? Like, why are we bringing this up? And
Yeah. We are bringing it up. We are bringing it up because for some reason, I don't know if I'm prepared to mention that. It actually, I mean, I'll just mention it now, even though I don't, I'm not prepared to bring up the video and show you the timestamps. Reese did a video with Tory Christman a few days ago. And as soon as I saw this, I knew what was up. I knew what was up. And it has to do with something I'm going to tackle after I show you guys the big receipts I told you I was going to show you. I knew something was up. I was like, this is interesting. As soon as I saw that interview was scheduled, I was like, this is strange. And I said, I actually texted a friend of mine, more than one. I said, if Reese tries to convince Tory that she lost her whole family and everyone she ever knew when I accidentally showed her phone number, I'm going to respond. And not only did she convince Tory of this, at one point in the interview, towards the end, Tory said, you know what, Reese? I am so proud of you. You are so strong. And I know you don't have a mother to say that to you, but it's true. And Reese didn't even correct her. Reese has a mother. Reese's mother has been out of Scientology a lot longer than Reese has been out of Scientology. Reese's mother has a husband who is the only father Reese has known for 30 years, 20, 30 years. Guys, I knew Reese for like a year before I ever even knew she had a stepfather. I remember when I first found out that Reese had a stepfather, that her mom was not single. I thought her mom was single the whole time that I knew Reese. Up until about a year, I found out, wait, your mom is married? Not only is her mom is married to an incredibly wealthy man who is the only father Reese has known for the majority of her life. That's great news. This is not a negative. I'm not insulting Reese. Why did it take me a year of knowing Reese before I even knew her mother was married? It's not the lies that Reese overtly tells. It's the omission to get people to feel a certain way and believe certain things, to feel sorry for her and want to give her things and want to do things for her. And when she allowed Tory to believe that she didn't even have a mother, I said, holy shit. And then there was an earlier part of the interview where where Tory was, again, complimenting Reese on the strength that it took her to leave Scientology. And Reese said, Tory, I'm not as strong as you think I am. I don't think you know my story. I was under the radar. And Aaron was helping me as a part of the foundation. And then he accidentally doxed me. And then I was kicked out. I don't think if he hadn't doxed me, I don't think I ever would have left. I think I would still be there, Tory. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? And this is why when Reese goes, why can't we just leave each other alone? Reese, why can't you just tell your story the way it actually happened? Why do you tell this version of your story that is, it's a lie, and it also feels like it's intended to make me look really, really bad? Maybe that's my selfishness and my self-centeredness, but I'm telling you, especially when you're always giving Nora shout outs, Reese always pretends like she doesn't know what goes on anyone else's channel. I don't watch anyone's channel. I have no idea what's going on. Yes, you do, Reese. And so do your moderators, because your moderators, particularly Yadira, are the leaders of the underground Moderator Mafia, who seem to only exist to cheerlead attacks on ex-Scientologists and protesters and foundations who are trying to expose Scientology and help people leave Scientology. Reese is an expert at acting stupid and helpless. Reese is anything but stupid and helpless. Okay, where did I leave this? Okay, we went to 111. Okay, we went to 111. Okay, good. I'm having to keep myself on track here. My notes tell me to go to this timestamp. Let's see what's happening here.
To bring a lot of chaos to the table. And I feel like all of this infighting, all of this crazy shit, if Aaron were to just stop doing that, I don't think anybody would be fighting. I really don't. What is there to fight about? We should all be working together to do one thing, end Scientology or bring its crimes to light. That's all we should be doing. This pointing the finger shit, which is now what he's doing to me, I don't know why.
Okay, good. I totally agree with you, Reese. We should, as much as possible, all be focused on exposing Scientology. Why do you support Nora publicly? Why do you publicly support Nora, who doesn't even do Scientology videos anymore? All Nora does is attack ex-Scientologists, okay? You know what Nora does. Don't play stupid. You fucking know exactly what Nora does. And whatever it is that you've got in whatever way that you are in cahoots with Nora, I don't claim to understand it all. I don't claim to understand the reason for it. It is, in my opinion, why you are doing this type of video about me instead of just picking up the phone to call me, especially when you look at the last text message that you ever sent me, talking about how much you value me, how much you regret how you treated me, how much you regret taking advantage of me and using me and throwing me under the bus, and that you're a better person and you're doing better. If you really wanted to continue to be like that, then you just pick up the phone and be like, do we have beef? I feel like are you taking shots at me? Do I have something to be worried about here? Like, because Reese, what I said about you, it wasn't an attack. It wasn't. And here you are responding to me like I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world. I do wish we could all be focused as much as possible on taking down Scientology. Reese, you don't even do videos about Scientology, and that's not a criticism. You sort of carved out your own niche as an ex-Scientologist who is, able to talk about your life. I think what you do is very unique. When I say you don't do videos about Scientology, that's not a criticism. But out of everyone in the ex-Scientology community, you say that you don't watch anyone's videos. Why is it that of all the ex-Scientologists on YouTube, of which there aren't that many these days, why is it that Nora is the only one you publicly support? I don't know. I don't really know the answer. But I know that Yadira has something to do with it. I know that Kelly BC has something to do with it. Being Nora's friend, sure as fuck, doesn't benefit you in any way. For the love of God, there's no one who has worse PR than Nora. Okay, that was my piece. Next timestamp, 1:15:20. This clip only lasts for 40 seconds.
this attack dog thing, whatever he's doing, it's incredibly disrespectful to me. It minimizes my past, my trauma, my story. You're just cutting it in half. And I think the other thing, it really bothered me. The other thing he said, he goes, Reese didn't lose any of her family. He was like, she had her husband, her mom, her kid. He minimized everything I went through to zero. He just bulldozed it to rubble. And he was like, she didn't go through anything. She didn't lose anything. She was going to be declared anyway. No accountability. Once again, like zero, like, yes, I did that. Nothing.
Okay, good. You see how she mischaracterized she mischaracterized what I said and even what I meant. When people ask me a question like, how did you escape Scientology? I respond by going, that's not really what happened. I could be like, I had to escape. It's not really what happened. When people, and I tell the story, people go, when they ask about the disconnection I experienced, what's my point I'm making right here? I guess my only point is, in order to have a problem with what I've said about her, she has to mischaracterize what it is that I said. I've not minimized any of her pain or her trauma. Let me think about this for a second. If what she's saying is she was so fucking devastated when her ex-in-laws from 3 marriages ago disconnected from her, then maybe I am minimizing that. Because we all know that's not true. You guys all watched as me and Reese played phone calls she secretly recorded with said ex-mother-in-law and laughed at the phone calls as we played them. By the way, I didn't ask her to record those phone calls. She did that on her own. I don't know why Reese wants everyone to believe that she was devastated and heartbroken when her kids' grandparents disconnected. She wasn't. You know who was? Her kid. Her kid was emotionally fucking destroyed. Why doesn't Reese tell her story that way? I don't know. It's a totally valid story. It's horrific. It's heartbreaking. But she acts like I'm minimizing the story. I don't mean to minimize it at all. I just don't know why you lie about it in the way that you do. Actually, I do know. I just don't think it's necessary. Okay, next timestamp. We're going to play this for about another minute. Here it is.
And to make matters worse, I'm sorry, I don't know if this is true because I did not know Mike Rinder. Never met Mike Rinder. I wish I had. But one of his last videos he said was Reese Quibell came to the Aftermath Foundation for help, and Aaron never reported it to the Aftermath Foundation and used her instead for content privately under the radar. Like, if I wasn't under the radar, why did you get all that information out of me and use it for your channel? Guys, think about that for a minute, right? I was used up until he didn't have anything else, and then he kicked my ass to the curb and trashed the shit out of me.
Okay, good. Many people may not know that a few months before Mike Rinder died, he did a series of videos saying some pretty fantastic and incredible lies about a handful of ex-Scientologists who have all themselves worked to expose Scientology abuse. He didn't do some sort of a deathbed confession about his role in covering up child sex abuse. He didn't do any of that. He trashed a lot of ex-Scientologists, including myself. He trashed me, the Danny Masterson victims, my wife, Heather, Miriam Francis, Serge Del Mar, and even Jenna Miscavige. And at the time, Luis Garcia texted me. He said, Aaron, I'm going to give you some advice. He goes, and I know you're not going to listen to me. He said, do not respond to a dying man. You will not win. I took Luis Garcia's advice, and I never responded to a single one of the horrific, slanderous lies Mike Rinder told about me in the videos he did before he died. But now that Reese is bringing it up, I'm going to fucking respond. And I've got the receipts. But before I show them to you, let me show you just how fucking nasty Reese gets here, okay? We are going to go to... Okay, 124.
It's unfortunate because at one time he was a great friend. But what happened, happened. And not anybody is ever going to be able to come out and say that didn't really happen. Of course that happened. You sound insane. You are the source of why that happened. You can't come out and rewrite history and change the story. I am trying to pick up the pieces of my life that ruined my life for all the right reasons, Aaron. I'm grateful to this day that you did that.
You want to talk about fucking gaslighting and manipulation? Constantly talking about how I destroyed your life, but you're so thankful because it actually saves your life is the ultimate. Reese has a supreme skill in complimenting someone and shitting down their throats at the same time. It's gaslighting manipulation par excellence.
Thankful to you. I have never come out to attack you. I might have said a thing here and there, but I regretted it, and I have kept my mouth shut. I'm not interested in fighting with anybody. Aaron, Tory, Nora, anybody. Aaron's crazy friends. I'm not interested in that shit. It's a shit show of a circus. You guys have fun under the big tent, fucking around, riding on your little tricycles, being fucking crazy people. I'm not going to partake in that. But it's a shit show, and it's a shame.
I've never attacked Aaron, while in the next sentence completely insulting me and all of my friends. It's just the fucking cognitive dissonance. I don't know if it's the right word for it. By the way, you'll notice her using the phrase, I'm picking up the pieces of my life. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? When you got declared, you had a husband who completely financially supported you and another man's son for years, no questions asked. That's just a fact. You didn't lose your job. You didn't lose income. You didn't lose housing. You didn't lose your parents. You didn't lose your sister or your mom or your son. What do you mean you're picking up the pieces of your life? After you got declared, after I helped you start your channel, after I helped you make well over 6 figures a year, you chose to divorce your husband, and then you moved from Kansas City to Nashville to restart your life. See, she wants to use the phrase, I'm picking up the pieces of my life, and give people the impression that somehow that's a result of her being declared. It's not. It's part of the fiction she tries to convince people of. Okay. Okay, so this was 125.25. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's get back to this Mike Rinder thing, because Reese is about to really fucking twist the knife. Thank God I have the receipts. Thank God I have the receipts, because I'm going to kill 2 liars with 1 stone. Reese is lying. Mike Rinder was lying, and I have the receipts. Okay, 13132.
And I'll tell you right now, since I'm talking about it, because I'm not addressing this again, I'm going to move on with my life and go back to my channel. You broke my heart when Mike Rinder said that. You absolutely broke my fucking heart. When I called the Aftermath Foundation for help, and you used me instead, texting me, calling me all the time, saying, find this out. Do you know this person? See if you can get this from your mother-in-law. Tell me if you know this person. See if she knows this person. Find this out if Miscavige is doing this. I was scrambling. I remember the phone calls with her. I was reading your questions while trying to talk to her and pretend to be a normal person and somehow integrate your questions into my conversation with her. And it was all good then, because you were using me for content and clicks and views. And there seems to be a pattern of this. You use and embarrass people for clicks and views. And I hope that you grow out of that. It's not funny. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny to make fun of people and tear them down for clicks and views. It's fucking gross. And it all worked out for you then. And it was true then, Aaron. I was under the radar then with all the questions I had to get answered for you. And then you out me. And then Mike Rinder, before he passes away, comes out and says, Aaron never told the Aftermath Foundation that Reese called to us for help. I didn't get any of the resources of the Aftermath Foundation. And I wasn't asking for money when I say resources. I wanted help with therapy. I was hoping that maybe somebody could say, okay, so here's a list of therapists that specialize in cult recovery. What can we do to help you? What can we do? What resources can we help you with? I got nothing. Why? Because I wasn't getting help from the Aftermath Foundation. I was being used until he didn't need me anymore. Until one day, Aaron added me to the list of things he didn't need anymore. He discarded me just like everybody else.
Sorry, guys, my mic was muted. I have 2 more clips I'm going to share with you of her getting more and more disgusting and insulting so that she can hang herself with her own words when I show you guys the fucking receipts, because she knows she's lying. She must not think I have the receipts. And by the way, before I forget, I was the VP of the Aftermath Foundation. She just said she wasn't asking for money. She just wanted some support and someone to talk to. That was me. She got the support and someone to talk to. She could have, if she wanted to speak to someone else, she could. It's not like I'm the only ex-Scientologist in the world. At the time that she reached out to the Aftermath Foundation, SPTV was a pretty big thing. There were ex-Scientologists all over the place. So, but my point is, any other person asking for the type of support that Reese was asking for, which was just someone to talk to, would have gotten me, because that's how we had it set up. And I'm going to show you the receipts on that as well. Because in order for Reese's phone call that she made to the foundation to be sent to me, Mike Rinder's wife had to send it to me and say, hey, here's this person who called, so that I could call her back. Anyway, let me show you the next clip here. 13508. All right, here we go.
The girl that you outed, that you used and didn't even tell the foundation where you were the vice president for. Think of how evil that is for a minute, guys. You used me for information, didn't tell the foundation, outed me, used me up, couldn't get any more information, and decided that I wasn't your friend anymore and trashed me.
Okay, good. And the last clip, 13721.
Did not go to the Aftermath Foundation. I confirmed that, by the way. You never took any of that to the Aftermath Foundation. You took me and you stuffed me into your pocket and used me for content.
I'm going to show you a little bit more of this clip. Remember that she just said that. She said, I confirmed that you never told anyone else at the Aftermath Foundation about me. And remember, who's the first person to have accused me of that? Mike Rinder. Mike Rinder said that when Reese reached out to the Aftermath Foundation, I didn't tell anyone else about her, but instead used her for content and views and clicks until I accidentally doxed her. So that's the first lie. And Reese just said, I confirmed it. Do not forget that.
When I could have been getting the help I needed. I confirmed that, by the way. You never took any of that to the Aftermath Foundation. You took me and you stuffed me into your pocket and used me for content when I could have been getting the help I needed. And by help, I mean, it would have been nice to at least just make some friends, meet some people that had been through it. But instead, you shielded them from me. You kept us all apart. That's a terrible thing to do. I thought it was incredibly evil what you did. And I've never come on my channel and talked about it. If that tells you anything, Aaron, I protected you from that. I didn't think it was worth coming on here. I kept that pain and discomfort and torture to myself. I thought, I don't do that kind of content. I don't want to throw any attacks at Aaron, even if it's the truth. I don't want to start any shit. I never talked about it.
She's a goddamn saint. I mean, you're a goddamn saint, Reese, for saving me the public humiliation of ever discussing this publicly. By the way, later in this video, she says that it was a year ago that she first learned of my betrayal of her. My betrayal of her. That was after this alleged betrayal is when she sent me that text message profusely apologizing for having taken advantage of me, betrayed my trust, used me and abused me. It's almost like exactly what she did to me is what she's now trying to convince people that I did to her. By the way, I like how she says, you hid me from them. Did you not know that Mike Rinder existed? Did you not know that Mark and Claire Headley existed? Is the only way you can reach out to someone and try to communicate with people and make friends is if I make an introduction to you? Do you not know of any other ex-Scientologists in the world? Like, it's just a false premise as well. Not only is it a false premise, it's a lie. The moment I got off the phone with Reese Quibell for the first time, the first person I got on the phone with was Mike Rinder. Mike Rinder said, wow, please send me an email. And I sent him an email with a full debrief of my conversation with Reese Quibell. I'm going to share that email with you today. And it shows that Mike Rinder is a fucking liar. And that when Reese Quibell says she verified that I never told anyone else at the Aftermath Foundation about her, who do we think is lying? Is Reese lying about having verified it? Or is someone at the Aftermath Foundation lying to Reese? I don't know. By the way, I love how she says, I don't think it's funny to make fun of people and tear them down. After Reese left her husband, Jeff, the guy who had been completely financially supporting her and another man's son for years, she spent the next year absolutely destroying and ridiculing and humiliating and just insulting in the most disgusting possible ways the man who had been supporting her unconditionally for years. Guys, I know Reese has tried to convince everyone that she was in some horrifically abusive relationship with her ex-husband, Jeff, but I might be the only person in this entire community who ever got to witness Reese and Jeff, what they were like with each other when they weren't on camera. Every video that I ever did with Reese, before we started the video, Jeff would come down and sit down and chat. And then after the video, he would come and sit down and chat. Guys, Reese has you all fooled. Reese was the abusive one in that relationship. Reese treated Jeff like a fucking dog in front of me. I mean, it was uncomfortable. And Jeff just took it like he was used to it. Jeff didn't even get upset. I mean, I know a lot of Reese's viewers and followers think they know what that relationship was like because Reese did to Jeff what she does to everyone, secretly records them when they're at their worst and then shares those recordings with other people, just like she did to her boyfriend, Tommy. She did it to Jeff. I would have some of Reese's moderators back in the day would be like, no, Aaron, you don't know. We've seen the recordings. Yeah, I'm sure you saw recordings. That's why Reese sent it to you, so that you would think she was in danger. That's what she did with Tommy. She recorded him, did a whole video getting everyone to think Tommy was a danger to Reese and her son. And then Reese just went and got back with Tommy because it was all a charade. It was all an act in the first place. Reese was the one who was abusive to Jeff, not the other way around. Reese acting, even though Reese doesn't do Scientology videos, Reese is always fighting with people. Reese is almost always attacking people. It's amazing how many haters Reese has when she doesn't even do content about Scientology. Reese has 10 times the haters that I have, and I have a lot of haters. I feel like the number of haters you have should at least be comparable to the size of your platform. Everyone should have some haters. In the words of Cat Williams, If you don't have some haters, you need to get yourself some. If you don't like your haters, send them my way. I'm looking for more. Here's the thing. Reese calls her haters Osa. I don't call my haters Osa. Let's take Nora. Nora's my biggest hater. She's my hater in chief, number one hater. Nora isn't Osa. Nora is manipulated by Osa to be incentivized to keep attacking me all day long. That doesn't make Nora Osa. And I'm sure Nora is horrifically offended at the idea that I would say she's being manipulated by Osa. I don't care. She is. The anonymous people in the chat and the moderator mafia that go from chat to chat. What do you think about what this person said? Did you see what this person said? The people who anonymously send Nora clips of something. Nora, are you going to respond to this? This is horrific. You know, the people that are like, Nora, you're doing great. Stand in your power, girl. Keep going. Are some of those people real? Of course. But if those real people, sorry guys, I don't want to burp into the mic. If those real people weren't there, Osa would be. They want us off target. And I know for anyone like, Aaron, you're off target right now. You're doing a video about Reese. Guys, the next 30 videos I'm going to do are about Scientology, okay? I don't know why Reese is doing what she's doing. I don't know why Reese's moderators work with Nora's moderators and Tory's moderators to try to suck Mark Bunker and Tory into the web of hate that Nora creates. But that's what's happening, and that's what I'm going to explain after I show you the fucking receipts I promised you. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for some goddamn receipts? Okay. Let me show you Mike Rinder in his own words, lying his fucking ass off about never having been informed about Reese Quibell.
I'm not going to.
Shit, I should have it queued up. 1844. We're going back to 1844. Here we go.
Oh, there was one other thing that was really, really important in this saga. Aaron had become the intake person for the Aftermath Foundation when people reached out to the foundation. And we discovered that he had been unilaterally rejecting people without informing other people on the board. He had also been taking people who reached out to the foundation and using them as a means of getting content for his videos. Reese Quibell was someone who reached out to the foundation. Aaron never reported anything about it and started using her as a source of inside information into Scientology until he doxed her.
You guys want to see a motherfucking liar caught lying? I finally have a chance to show some physical evidence that Mike Rinder, in the videos he did just months before his death, lied his lying fucking ass off about as many ex-Scientologists as he could. First of all, me and Luis Garcia were the president and vice president of the Aftermath Foundation. I ran operations, but I was not the boss. Luis was the boss, and that's how we set it up, and that's how we wanted it. I never unilaterally disapproved anything. The procedure at the Aftermath Foundation was, if me and Luis both agreed that an application was worthy, we forwarded it to everyone for a vote. If Luis and I felt an application was not worthy, we did not forward it for a vote. Everyone on the board knew that that was our procedure. So I wasn't unilaterally disapproving anything. Me and Luis had the power to disapprove things. And Mike Rinder knew that. Everyone knew that. That's how we set it up. And then he says he was never told about Reese Quibell. You ready, guys? I've been waiting so fucking long to show this to you. Okay, close this, close this. Here we go, motherfucker. You're a fucking piece of shit liar who covered up child sex abuse and took your fucking knowledge to the grave. Okay, here is the first voice message that Reese Quibell, the first and only voice message that Reese Quibell left for the Aftermath Foundation. You can see that this was forwarded to me by Mike Rinder's wife, Christy Colburn. Hey there, my name is Reese. My last name is Quibell. If somebody could return my call, I'm kind of searching for some guidance. I don't know if this is the right place to turn to or not, but I thought I would give you a call. Good. All she was looking for was some guidance. She was looking for someone to talk to. Now, to be fair, even back then, the first time I ever spoke to Reese, she sort of did that pretend helplessness kind of thing. Because when I finally got on the phone with her, she made it very clear she'd already been out of Scientology for a while. She wasn't married to a Scientologist. She wasn't employed by a Scientologist. Her kid wasn't a Scientologist. Her parents weren't Scientologists. And she just wanted me to know that her mother-in-law was a staff member training at Flag. And I'm like, well, what do you need help with? Like, well, she's like, I don't know what to do. And so we talked about it. We got off the phone. Reese's very genuine Scientology story includes some horrific child abuse and some horrific child sex abuse. By any measure, Reese has a very important story and had a horrific Scientology childhood. I've never minimized any part of Reese's story. The moment I got off the phone with Reese, I got on the phone with Mike Rinder. He said, I need you to send that to me in writing. I said, you got it. Oh, by the way, did you guys notice the date on that? Let me show you the date. That was July 5th at 2 p.m. Reese contacted the foundation. Look at the timestamp of my email to Mike Rinder. 6:40 p.m. One, that shows you how fast messages left on the voicemail for the foundation were responded to. So to everyone who later decided that, oh my God, if you don't answer the phone live, you're somehow not able to do your job. The Aftermath Foundation didn't have a person answering the phone for the first 6 years we were in operation, okay? So you'll notice this email is sent directly to Mike Rinder. It's not even sent to Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia was blind copied. It's literally to Mike Rinder, okay? 6:40 p.m., the exact same day that I spoke to Reese. Suck on this, you fucking motherfucker. Fuck you, Mike Rinder, and fuck you, Reese Quibell, for lying on my fucking name and trying to destroy my fucking reputation, okay? Here's the email I sent to Mike Rinder the moment I got off the phone with Reese Quibell. Reese contacted the foundation today. I spoke to her for about an hour. This is only a summary of the most pertinent facts relating to sexual abuse she experienced as a minor while working as a staff member at the Scientology organization in Kansas City. Quick note, the only reason I have redacted information I wasn't comfortable sharing. Everything I'm reading aloud is stuff Reese and I have already discussed publicly in our videos together, and that Reese has already discussed in her own videos. No privacy is being violated here. Okay. Reese was under the impression that the statute of limitations in Missouri would prevent her from seeking justice. It turns out that the statute of limitations does not prevent her from seeking justice. Oh, if it turns out that the statute of limitations does not prevent her from seeking justice, then she wants to participate in any way that she can. And then I give a bit of a summary. I say Reese is still a Scientologist in good standing, but she is done with Scientology. Notice the language. I didn't say she's still a Scientologist. I said she's still in good standing. You cannot be a Scientologist like my brother-in-law. He's not declared. Technically, he's in good standing, but he's not a Scientologist. Okay. I said, Reese is keeping up appearances for now, but she has no problem with being declared. She has decided to stay in for now in case she can be helpful to us from the inside. That is what Mike Rinder was directly told. And he wants you to believe that he was never even informed of Reese's existence. Not only am I going to finish reading the information I sent to Mike Rinder about Reese Quibell, I'm going to show you his fucking response. Okay, there's no reason for me to read this entire thing to you, honestly, but it basically has to do with Reese's experience as a child, the abuse that she was subjected to, her experience on staff. Let's see. Okay, yes. And I tell Mike Rinder that Reese's ethics files and her auditing files would have all the documentation of all of this underage abuse. Guys, it could not be more crystal clear. How could Mike Rinder possibly say that he was never informed about the existence of Reese Quibell when this fucking email was sent to him at his specific request? Okay. Here's Mike Rinder's reply. He sends me a reply just a couple hours later. Thanks, Aaron. I'm going to speak to my friends tomorrow. From what I get, would she be willing to talk to them? I respond, 100%. Mike Rinder's friends were certain investigators with federal law enforcement. How could Mike Rinder ever forget that he was informed about Reese Quibell? How could he ever forget that he was informed Reese herself chose to stay undeclared for as long as possible to possibly be of some assistance to us in terms of getting information from the inside? And why would Mike Rinder have to rely on his memory? He can search his email history just as easily as I can search my email history. Okay. Another follow-up email from Mike Rinder. Okay. He then even responds to me again. Can you give me Reese's phone number to forward and tell Reese someone will be contacting her? I then give Mike Rinder Reese Quibell's contact information so that Mike Rinder can forward her information to the federal investigators and also to attorneys. How does Mike Rinder forget that? Okay. There's more. There's more. Okay, Reese on the same day sends me some actual evidence from her baby book of things that her dad wrote in her baby book that corroborate the information that she had given me about having been in a sexual relationship with an adult at the Kansas City org when she was a minor. I sent all of this information directly to Mike Rinder. Mike Rinder is a fucking liar who was complicit in covering up child sex abuse in Scientology, and to his dying day, never came clean about it. You know what else Mike Rinder didn't do before he died? You know all those secret OSA files that he held on to for so long, didn't share with anybody? When he then gave them to Mark Headley, he pretended he wasn't the source. Mike died without ever doing a legal declaration swearing to the authenticity and the origin of those documents. Despite the ongoing litigation against Scientology, despite the evidence of the cover-up of child sex abuse that exists in those documents, he did not ever do a declaration attesting to and swearing to the origin and the authenticity of those documents. I guess he just forgot also all the information he was given about Reese Quibell's child sex abuse. Totally forgot. Apparently, the way Mike Rinder remembers it is I just kept Reese a secret. I kept her to myself so I could squeeze her for information and use her and abuse her and then dox her and then throw her away. How does Mike Rinder think that that's what happened? More importantly, more relevant to where we are today, how does Reese Quibell expect you guys to believe that that's what happened when you guys have been there for all of it? You guys have seen it all with your own eyes. Okay. By the way, I like how Mike Rinder says Aaron became the intake person for the Aftermath Foundation, as if it's something I maneuvered into existence. From day one, I was the one who did 90% of all the work for the Aftermath Foundation, did 90% of all the promotion, raised 90% of all the money. The other board members didn't want to do the work. That's not an insult. We didn't want them to do the work. We didn't want, what do they say? Too many chefs in the kitchen? They were happy. We would regularly, me and Luis would talk every single day. Every time we'd have a board meeting phone call, we'd update all the other board members about everything that was going on. They were happy as a pig in shit. The only time we sent all information to all board members was when someone was requesting money and they needed assistance. That was our procedures. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't a scam. It wasn't maneuvering. And I love how it's like he used them for information. What are you supposed to do with information? What does that mean? What does that mean? Using them for information. If I talk to someone that's in Scientology and they give me tons of up-to-date information, what am I supposed to, what? Is that wrong? By the way, I think one of the clips that I shared with you from Reese, Aaron used me for views. He used me for clicks and views. That's not entirely inaccurate. When it comes to content creation or even the media, there is always some aspect of the fact that the person who owns the content or is doing the interview or selling the magazine is the one financially benefiting from that. And I was very uncomfortable from day one with that power imbalance, which is one of the reasons every time I would bring any former Scientologist onto my channel, I would encourage them to start their own channel so that I could help promote them and build them so that it was mutually beneficial. I didn't want to feel like I was the one exclusively benefiting from having other people tell their stories on my channel. And anyone who's been around for the last 3 years will see there isn't anyone in this community who's tried to help other people grow their channels, promote other people, build other people up more than I. That was intentional. That was on purpose. That was because it makes me feel good to help other people if I know I'm already being helped. My channel is benefiting in terms of viewership, subscribers, dollars from people telling their story on my channel. Guys, not only that, I then pivoted from just helping other people promote their channels to doing simultaneous live streams. I didn't have to do that. I could just say, no, come on my channel and I'll promote your channel. But instead, people would come on my channel and we would stream to both channels at the same time, right? So anyway, it's just an interesting example of someone taking something that's actually just intrinsically true and unavoidable and trying to turn it into something negative or predatory or manipulative. And it's like, why are you doing that, Reese? Reese, what changed between now and the time that you sent me a text lamenting that you had taken advantage of me and lied to me and lied about me and hurt me? What changed, Reese? What the fuck changed? What are you doing? I'm out here trying to do as much Scientology content as possible. All I did, Reese,
was say, you weren't under the radar in terms of Scientology. You were under the radar in terms of talking to a big bad SP. That's not an attack. Okay. There's one more thing that I wanted to discuss here. Why is all of this coming up? This is going to be the last chapter of this video. Why is all of this coming up? It has to do with OSA. It has to do with OSA infiltration. It has to do with Mark Bunker and Tory Christman, aka Tory Magoo. Two people that I respect, two people that I consider friends. I talked to Mark. I talked to Tory. Last week, I spent 3 hours on the phone with Tory trying to help her find the upload button on her TikTok app on her phone. Because I care about Tory and I want to help her. And she didn't have anyone else to help her with it. Anyone who's ever tried to help an elderly individual with tech problems over the phone can understand how frustrating that was for the both of us. But we made it through. Stronger people on the end. Here's what's been happening behind the scenes. It has been very obvious to me for a long time that the live chat community of the ex-Scientologists on YouTube is the weak point for OSA infiltration and influence, okay? It's just a fact. It's the way OSA tries to manipulate all of us. It's the way they try to bring things to our attention. Oh my God, did you see what this person said? And if they weren't doing it in the live chat, they'd be sending us emails, which they also do. I have seen OSA influenced moderators love bombing and latching on and manipulating Mark Bunker and Tory Christman. And I have been talking to them about it. And the reason I've been talking to them about it specifically is because no one in our ex-Scientology community has as much firsthand experience seeing how OSA will infiltrate and influence and destroy an online space of ex-Scientologists. It's Tory's whole fucking story, okay? Tory and Mark do not condone or co-sign or support any of these videos you see of ex-Scientologists attacking ex-Scientologists. They may not even support this video I'm doing now. They do not like it. They know OSA wins every time we do it, no matter how well-intentioned it may seem. They condemn it. And yet, Tory's #1 moderator, Kelly BC, is the #1 cheerleader of Nora Ames's constant, nonstop attacks on ex-Scientologists and protesters and foundations. And so I called Tory a while back. I was like, hey, Tory, how you doing? How you doing? How did you meet Kelly BC? And Tory's like, oh, Mark Bunker introduced her to me. I was like, oh, that's interesting. He goes, yeah, she's Mark Bunker's moderator and Mark loves her. And, you know, he referred her to me as well because I didn't have any moderators. I go, oh. She goes, why? What's the problem? I go, do you know that? I said, Tory, you saw how Scientology was able to pit people against each other and destroy people and everything. And you do a lot of videos talking about that and talking about how we shouldn't fall for it and shit. She's like, yeah. I go, well, why do you have a moderator that's cheerleading attacks on ex-Scientologists? And she goes, oh, I didn't know that she's doing that. And I go, well, how would you know? You don't watch Nora's videos. And she goes, you should talk to Mark about this. And I go, I'll talk to Mark about it.
But Mark doesn't do live streams anymore. So no one gives a shit who his moderator is. No one even knows who someone's moderator is unless you're doing live streams, and Mark hasn't done live streams in like 4 months. And she's like, okay, I still wish you talked to Mark about it though. I was like, okay. So I called Mark and I spoke to him about it for a long time. And he goes, okay, I'm going to talk to Kelly. I go, okay, well, fine. He talks to Kelly. He said, okay, Kelly's going to stop going in all those live chats and she's going to stop attacking. I'm like, all right, I'm going to leave this alone for right now, but that's not good enough for me because, you know, just hiding what you're doing doesn't change who you are. And the truth is, Kelly BC is someone who Mark has never met, Tory has never met. She doesn't have a channel. She doesn't show her face. And she's the number one cheerleader, one of the number one cheerleaders of Nora's nonstop attacks on me, my friends, my foundation, and one of the biggest supporters of Nora's efforts to try to get me sent to prison. And I told Mark, I said, Mark, I got to tell you, maybe it's just the PTSD I've got from the last 2 fucking years in this community, but I'm done being a friend to people who do not return the favor. Okay. And I said, Mark, I'm about to raise a shitload of fucking money for you for your city council campaign. And you have my support and I'm going to ride or die with you. But I'll tell you what, I will not be put in a position of putting my neck out on the line, putting my platform to work for you, throwing my whole weight behind you. If you're going to start doing live streams with a moderator who's literally cheerleading me being sent to prison. I said, Mark, I've been a really good fucking friend to you. And I don't mind telling you guys that I had a conversation with him where I listed all the ways in which I didn't feel that kindness was being returned. That's just between he and I. And he said, you're right. You deserve better. You deserve better. And I'm going to talk to Kelly. I said, okay. So we talked to Kelly. He said, okay, she's going to stay out of the chats. But I already knew that Kelly might stay out of the chats, but she's not changing her spots. She's just going into hiding. Okay. So you've got Tory's moderators, Nora's moderators, and Reese's moderators, who I'm calling the Moderator Mafia. And for some reason, these toxic, hateful people who don't have anything to do with this community, they're not ex-Scientologists, they're not protesters, they don't do anything to help expose Scientology. They work behind the scenes to create divisions. And what they have done, because Tory and Mark don't watch people's videos. Tory and Mark don't know what these people are doing. They don't know. And what I said to Tory and Mark is I said, they know that you don't know. That's why they're latching on to you. They get credibility from being connected to you. They create the impression that you guys are okay with what they do. But they know that you don't know. Okay. So once I was told that Kelly was going to stop attacking, I was like, okay, I had no faith in that whatsoever. But then I saw all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Reese Quibell shows up after all these years. Someone who claims she doesn't associate with any ex-Scientologists. She doesn't watch anyone's videos. All of a sudden, she shows up to do an interview with Tory Christman. And I go, see, here's the thing. The Moderator Mafia knew that Tory Christman does not like Nora and can't stand Nora and doesn't co-sign Nora's attacks on people. So they knew they couldn't get Tory to publicly associate with Nora. But they're like, you know who we could get her to associate with? Reese. Reese does a really good job of turning on the charm and love bombing. I swear to God, if you guys watch the interview that Reese did with Tory, guys, love bombing is real. And I said this to Mark's face and he laughed. And I said, Mark, you fall in love with any woman who says hello to you. Okay. And we had a good laugh and he knows it. And I was like, if you guys watch the interview that Reese did with Tory, it's a masterclass in love bombing. It's a masterclass. Oh my God, Tory, you're everything everyone always told me you would be. I really needed this tonight. She even started to cry a little bit. You had Reese's boyfriend, Tommy, in the chat. Oh my God, Tory, you remind me just of my mother. You have no idea how important it is for Reese to have someone like you in her life. It got so bad that Tory even ended up being under the impression that Reese lost her mother to Scientology, that her mother was still in the cult. It was unbelievable. And I said, I see where this is going. I see where this is going. Reese, for some reason, out of everyone in the ex-Scientology community, only shows love to Nora. They couldn't succeed in love bombing Tory into doing content with Nora, but they could succeed in love bombing Tory to do content with Reese. Now, guys, if after this, Tory comes out and is like, fuck Aaron, he's lying, Reese is wonderful, I rebuke him, that's okay. That's okay. I texted Tory a couple days ago. I said, Tory, listen, I realize I'm the only one in this community trying to warn you about how you're being love bombed and manipulated by these people. And I realize that makes me look, I'm just a fucking hater. Okay. And I said, I'm going to stop doing it. I'm going to stop doing it because you're probably getting sick of it. I'm going to stop doing it. But I said, Tory, listen, anytime I've had a problem with you, I consider you a friend. I've called you and I said, look, I'm kind of pissed off with you about something. I hope you don't mind if I call you and ask you about it. I'm calling you because I consider you a friend. If I didn't consider you a friend, I wouldn't bother calling you. And she's always said, absolutely. I'm glad you did call me. Tory's been a little distant from me ever since Mark had that conversation with Kelly BC. And if Tory thinks I'm just trying to shit on people that she likes, fine. I don't know if that's how she feels, but I texted her today. I said, Tory, I'm starting to get the impression that you're upset with me. I said, I'm starting to get the impression that maybe you're not happy with me, but I hope you'll do me the courtesy that I've always done you. If you got a problem with me, I hope you're going to call me and tell me what it is. I said, because I'm about to do a fucking response video to the attack I got yesterday from your new fucking friend that I tried to warn you about. Okay. And after Reese did her interview with Tory, Reese then did a 3-hour fucking recap. Oh my God, I can't believe I met someone as wonderful in the world as Tory. It just changed my perspective on everything. And it's just all weekend. I could think of nothing but how fucking wonderful Tory was. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Love bombing is real. Mark falls for the love bombing. I've told him. Tory falls for the love bombing. I mean, Tory said to me, I don't understand. Kelly BC is such an amazing moderator. I said, Tory, a handicapped monkey could be a good moderator. What are you talking about? A moderator just, look, my friends are all handicapped monkeys and they're great moderators. I said, Tory, what do you mean? A moderator just deletes spam. Anybody could be a good moderator. And she goes, I don't know how to do it. And I go, Tory, that's the problem. Like, you don't understand any of this. You don't understand any of this. You don't see how you're being manipulated. You don't see the attacks that these people are engaged in. And she goes, well, I don't know what you want me to do. I go, Tory, don't take my word for it. Just go watch the video yourself. So she went and watched one of Nora's videos and she spoke to me afterwards. I'm laughing at all my moderators reacting. You guys are hilarious. My moderators are people I know and trust. And that's why they're my moderators. And that's why I have so many of them. I don't need 10 moderators. I want the people I know and trust to be included in my channel and know that I mean, I just want them. It's the same reason I wanted everyone to be on YouTube so we could all do it together. My moderators are people I know in real life. Shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I told Tory, I said, Tory, just go watch one of Nora's fucking videos and look at Kelly BC in the chat and look at the shit that she's saying and the attacks that look at how she attacks and insults ex-Scientologists. Tory goes, okay, I'll watch the video. Spoke to her the next day. I watched the video. I didn't see anything. I go, well, did you watch the live chat? And she goes, no, I don't know how to watch the live chat. I go, of course you didn't fucking see anything. What did you expect to? She goes, I don't know how. I don't know how. And I go, I understand, Tory. That's the problem. They're taking advantage of you. They know that you don't fucking know. And I'm like, Tory, it's not like I want you to take my word for it, but I can't show you how to watch the live chat. It took me 3 hours to show you how to find the fucking upload button on your TikTok app. It's a little harder to figure out how to find the live chat. But Tory, do you think I've got nothing better to do than to call you and just make this shit up? Like, I got better things to do with my fucking life. You think I'm just lying? And she's like, well, Kelly's always been nothing but nice to me. So anyway, when I did finally text Mark, I said, hey, Mark, you ever met this Kelly BC person in real life? And he goes, no, but we've talked on the phone. She's super nice and helpful. I go, yeah, I imagine being super nice and helpful is a great way to infiltrate a movement. And he goes, is something the matter? And I go, yeah, something is the matter. I think we should chat. So guys, these fucking faceless, semi-anonymous moderators who go from chat to chat to chat, supporting attacks on ex-Scientologists, on protesters, on foundations, they're sick, they're toxic, they're destructive, they are OSA influenced. And if people are going to keep falling for it, that's on them. That's on them. The reason I chose to take specific action is because Mark Bunker's campaign is going to be starting. I am not going to allow these OSA influenced, toxic, hateful motherfuckers drive any kind of a wedge between me and Mark Bunker. Okay? And Kelly BC and Yadira and the other members of the Moderator Mafia, I know what the fuck you're doing, and I know what the fuck you're up to. And you are not going to be allowed to continue to instigate infighting between ex-Scientologists. You people are so fucking hateful and destructive. I know who you are. I know what you're doing, and I've got your fucking number. And the hateful Moderator Mafia, all of the members of you guys, you're going to be dropping like fucking flies. Okay? For whatever reason, Tory's moderators, not all of them, by the way, pretty much just Kelly BC, Nora's moderators, Reese's moderators, Kelly BC, Yadira, some of the others, you guys are largely responsible for the hate and toxicity in this community, for keeping people focused on attacking each other instead of attacking Scientology. Mark Bunker does not support what you do. Tory Christman does not support what you do. The only reason you have their support is because they don't know what you do. I'm going to make sure they find out. If I got to fly to LA and show Tory how to watch a fucking live chat on replay, I will. And if Tory's pissed off at me for doing a negative video about her new best friend, Reese Quibell, I don't fucking care. It's good enough for me that the community knows where I stand on this and what I plan to do about it. I will succeed. I will be effective. We are going to raise a fucking mint of money for Mark Bunker. We are going to help him win this city council race.
And it's not going to be with you hateful motherfuckers working in the background, complaining and attacking and criticizing and manipulating and fomenting upset and unrest. Okay. All right, let's see. We've got a lot of starred comments here. Holy shit. How can there possibly be? Wait, it says 67, but when I scroll, it doesn't look like 67. All right. I don't know that I have the voice to go through all these. Let me try to take my time looking at some of these. You know what, guys? I hope you don't mind. I'm sorry that you guys spent so much time starring all those comments in the back office. I'm going to skip them, because I think what I have to say in this video stands on its own. And I'll let that be what it is. Okay? Thank you guys for hanging out with me. That's it for me for today. You will see me tomorrow. Good night.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here.